Every human being alive today shares one ancient home, Africa. Every nation, every tongue, every faith tradition traces its earliest ancestors to this land. This is not a myth or speculation. It is science, confirmed through fossils, art, and the DNA written inside every person on Earth. Africa is where the human story truly begins, not as a mystery, but as a legacy of creativity, discovery, and faith. In this lesson, we'll follow the facts, the proven evidence that reveal Africa as the birthplace of Homo sapiens, the fully modern human. Deep in southern Ethiopia, along the ancient Omo River, lie some of the oldest remains of our species. Omo Kibish the Freom, dated to about 195,000 years ago. These bones belong to people who looked, walked, and thought as we do. They shaped tools with care, traveled with family groups, and understood cooperation. These were not early experiments in humanity. They were humanity itself. Here, in the cradle of East Africa, the first communities learned how to survive together, hunt together, and share knowledge across generations. However, they didn't stay isolated. Far to the northwest, across deserts and mountains, another discovery confirmed Africa's vast story. At Jebel Irhoud in Morocco, skulls and stone tools nearly 300,000 years old were found, displaying the same intelligent design seen in Omo Kibish. Different landscapes, same people, connected by creativity and problem-solving. These findings prove that Homo sapiens was not born in one corner, but across an entire continent of thinkers and innovators sharing ideas long before nations existed. Africa was not isolated. It was a living network of progress. From the Red Sea coast to the Atlantic plains, people communicated, traded materials, and passed down technology. Africa was already a continent of connection, early humans moving freely, discovering and teaching. The foundation of civilization was already being laid. Near the southern tip of the continent, at Blombos cave, archaeologists found carved ochre stones marked with cross-hatched designs. Beside them were tiny shell beads, pierced for stringing into necklaces. These were symbols, not tools, signs of identity and imagination. They proved that early Africans understood beauty, community, and meaning. The human mind had awakened, capable of representing ideas, not just reacting to nature. Art was born here, alongside the capacity for spirituality and purpose. When early Africans mixed ochre with fat to create paint, they were writing messages to the future. We were here, we saw the world, we found wonder. That same impulse lives today in African design, architecture, music, and rhythm. Unbroken evidence of creativity stretching across time. Thousands of years later, in what is now the Egyptian-Sudanese border, another marvel appeared, Nabta Playa. Here, families built large stone circles that aligned perfectly with the rising of the summer sun. They watched the stars to predict the coming rains. Long before Stonehenge, long before the pyramids, Africans had created the world's first astronomical observatory. They measured the heavens and marked the calendar, connecting sky and soil in harmony. Through these stones, we glimpse both science and faith. They believed that understanding the stars honored the Creator who placed them. Knowledge was sacred, and observation was a form of worship. This is where scientific thought and spiritual insight first walked together, in Africa's desert sands. Around 70,000 years ago, some families began long journeys outward. They followed coastlines through Arabia, India, and beyond, guided by the same stars they studied. They carried fire, language, and skills, the building blocks of every civilization to come. Each step outward wrote a new chapter in the global story of humanity, but all began in the same place. Genetic research confirms it. Every modern human carries the same African signature in our DNA. Whether your ancestors settled in Asia, Europe, the Americas, or the islands of the Pacific, they share the same origin. The science of genetics, the archaeology of fossils, and the memory of culture all agree. We are one extended family. This unity is not only scientific, it's spiritual. The book of Acts 17:26 declares, "He made from one blood all nations of men to dwell on the face of the earth." That verse echoes across generations and confirms what archaeology already proves. All people are related. Different languages, different lands, but the same breath of life from one creator. When we teach this truth, we heal history. Recognizing Africa as humanity's birthplace restores pride and justice where ignorance once placed shame. It reminds our children that they are descendants of builders, astronomers, artists, and innovators. No culture or continent stands outside this story. All are branches of the same African root. From the bones of Kibish to the astronomy of Nabta Playa, from the carved ochre of Blombos to the tools of Jebel Irhoud, the facts are undeniable. Africa is where humanity began and where human genius first rose to meet the Creator's world. Every field of study, genetics, archaeology, linguistics, and art, points back to this fact. Now it's your turn to study and remember these facts. Take our Adult Origins quiz inside the Erudition Network school site. Share what you learned, challenge others to explore, and carry the facts forward. The most extraordinary heritage you can pass on is the facts of our shared humanity. Tell the world that Africa is not just the beginning of humanity's timeline, but the heart of humanity's identity. After you share these facts, join the Erudition Network on YouTube, School, and Facebook. Join a community where you will learn, question, prove, and grow. Share where humanity began, because knowledge has roots that we all can grow from.